Hello, everyone. Welcome this evening. I'm glad you could join us. I'm just going to fix a couple of screen things here before we get started. So I'm going to make sure you're all muted for those that are signed in already, just in case dogs bark in the background and such. So I will click off your microphone if I should see that it comes on. So just like to introduce myself. I'm Wendy Jobs, and I'm your moderator this evening for this webinar. I'm the BCDHA Dental Hygiene Practice Consultant, and with me this evening is your presenter, Megan, from the Jane app. So welcome, Megan, and I'll let Megan introduce herself in just a little bit, but I got some housekeeping and stuff like that. Just a little bit of about my bio and who I am for those that don't know me. I've been with BCDHA just over 2 years now. I love my job with the association. I was an educator for 20 years at the College of New Caledonia and currently work a little bit in residential care. I have 2 dogs and 3 children, and I'm really looking forward to my daughter coming home from Australia for a visit this summer. And thanks everyone for attending this evening. The webinar tonight is designed into 2 parts. We should have about a 45-minute or thereabouts presentation, and then 10 or 15 minutes for Q&A. And I just want to double check. I'm just going to unclick Megan's microphone. Hi, Megan. Are you here with us?
I sure am.
Oh, great. Okay. I got a couple more slides, and then I'm going to turn things over to Megan. So thanks for joining us tonight, Megan.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So this is just a little slide to show you. It should look very much like what you have. You can see the talking up here. You should be able to see who's talking, whether it be me or Megan. And after we're done, people will have the opportunity to ask questions. So you'll see yourself light up here if you're talking. If you have any technical difficulties, please just text me at my cell phone number there for assistance during the meeting if you have any audio or video issues, and I'll do what I can. You can also send me some messages through the chat. You can certainly click here, send it to everyone, or you can just do a pull down and send it to myself. If you have a question that you would like me to ask on your behalf, I can certainly do that. Sorry, I'm just got to check, see as people sign in here. So just a little bit of background I wanted to share with our independents before I give the microphone and presentation over to Megan, and a little bit about why I was so excited to bring this to the independents in the province. A number of weeks ago, I was working, or someone had called me, an independent working in the Kootenays, actually had just kind of in a casual conversation mentioned that she was using the Jane app for her practice, and that she was finding really good results. Like good results meaning she was using the online booking feature, which the Jane platform has lots and lots of robust business things for you, but I was mostly excited about the online booking function. And this independent hygienist indicated that she was getting approximately 5 new patients per week booking a new patient exam, and I was like, wow, that's like pretty phenomenal results. At the time when I was asked her what she was using, and she told me that it was the Jane. And so I belong to a very large chiropractic, massage therapy, all those kind of auxiliary health professionals. And I have been using the online booking feature in that particular practice for a number of months, and I really found it super easy. So one day when I was there for my massage appointment, I asked the receptionist and the front end staff what they were using for their online booking, and they said, oh, the Jane, and they went on and on and on about how great it was and how it saves them so much time. People don't even stand at the counter and book appointments anymore. So that's when I was really, really kind of excited, and I was like, okay, well, I've personally used this as a patient and I love it, and I've heard from a practitioner who's using it who loves it as a practitioner and a business owner. So I was convinced I had to share this with you guys, so that's why we're hosting this webinar. Especially for those that don't currently have a front-end reception coverage. We know that that's a very expensive part of a practice. And it's, I almost sound like a salesperson, but I'm not going to gain financially whether you choose to use this or any other platform. So just to let you know, I'm not being subsidized by the Jane people at their place of business. So anyway, that's my story, and I just wanted to share a little bit of that. So I'm going to, just give me 1 second here, I'm going to change my screen over to Megan. And I'll let Megan introduce herself. to you, and then she'll proceed on into her presentation. So it'll just take a second here for us to change screens, and there she's got it. So she's going to take it away. Thanks, Megan.
All right, thank you so much, and what a great introduction for Jane. So my name is Megan. Previous to my time working at Jane, I actually did work at a multidisciplinary clinic. So we offered things like chiropractic, massage, acupuncture, and some aesthetics. And we used a different software for our booking programs and for online booking and whatnot. And we quickly realized once we started kind of looking into the world of online charting and online booking that the software that we were using wasn't going to work for us. So I started researching different software programs and met Jane, and a little tiny bit fell in love with Jane. I quickly realized that a lot of the admin duties that I was doing throughout a day, a software program could actually take care of for me, which was in my world a little tiny bit mind-blowing. We ended up doing a software switchover in our clinic. I introduced Jane to the rest of my practitioners and taught them how to use it, and turned out that I loved Jane so much, I decided I wanted to work for Jane and show other people why I think Jane is such an amazing program. So that's a little bit about me. I also have 2 dogs, I have 2 kids, and I live on a beautiful farm, so many cows as well. All right, so you can see on my screen here our demo clinic. We use our demo clinic to introduce people to the little bits of Jane. Our demo clinic is all fake practitioners, it's all fake patients, it's all fake money, it's all fake everything that we set up so that people like you can give Jane a try in a scenario of a demo clinic. So if anybody is interested in getting the demo clinic information, I will provide an email address at the end that you can shoot us an email and request that, and we'll be happy to send the information out to you. So welcome to the patient-facing side of Jane. So when a client would go to book an appointment online for your services, they'll come to a page that might be a little bit like this. Now, these colors here will be brandable to the colors that you want them to be. This can be your logo here. Our demo clinic is set up as the multi-practitioner and multi-location clinic. So our clients can choose the practitioner that they want to book an appointment with simply by clicking the practitioner's picture or name there. They can then select the treatment that they want to book in. Now, when we create a treatment in Jane, it is all customizable. So you can name that treatment whatever you want, put a description that will help the
Megan, something just happened to your audio. Can you hear me? Megan, can you hear me? Sorry about this, gang. I'm assuming that... Okay, sorry, I'm not sure what happened here.
care recall appointment.
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, sorry about that, Megan. You clicked out there for just about 10 seconds, so we probably missed the last little bit there. I'm not sure what happened. All right. Sorry about that.
I'm not sure either. Technology and internet, right?
Yeah, I know.
So I was just saying there that we can select the treatment that we want to book in for. So I've clicked the appointment for the continuing care recall appointment, and I'm getting this little notice, a heads up that Carla Clean's first availability is Monday, July 2nd, and we've jumped ahead to that date for you. So I'm going to say okay here, and now I'm going to see the appointments that are available in Carla's schedule. So here I can see that on Monday there's a 12 o'clock appointment. Tuesday I've got 3 appointments available, and throughout the week my availability opens up a little bit more. Now, appointments here that are already booked are just showing as booked. They're not available times for anybody else to do that. Now, over on the admin side, those appointments could really be booked in by a patient, or maybe the practitioner decided to take a long lunch and they have booked themselves off with a break. The client doesn't know that. All they know is that appointments here in these areas are available for them to book. So if they select a time slot that they want to book, they can just click on that time slot and it's going to mark it as reserved. So the moment I mark it as reserved, over on the admin side of Jane, this appointment is reserved as well. So you as the practitioner, if you were standing there in front of your computer trying to book somebody in for their next appointment, and I am a client that's trying to book online, if I select this time slot, you're going to see immediately that that appointment is reserved and that appointment is not going to be available for you to book with the client standing in front of you. Jane updates by the second or even by the millisecond, so everything is done live time. I worked with a software that every time I wanted to book somebody in my schedule, I had to hit the refresh button to make sure that nobody else was booking an appointment online. And it turned out that sometimes I forgot to do that and my appointments would be double booked. So this was one of the favorite features of the online booking for me working in clinic. So here I've selected that. I'm now getting a thanks for booking page. I can book more appointments if I chose to. I could click I'm done, or if I didn't mean to do that, I could whoops cancel that. We're going to click I'm done and go ahead and complete this booking. So now I've come to the thank you for booking page. And here I've got that confirmation of the booking that I've just created. So it's a continuing care recall appointment. And I do have a little buffer time of being able to cancel this appointment. Even if your clinic or you are not going to be offering cancellations or rescheduling appointments online, which is an option that you have, there will be a 3-minute buffer time in which the person can cancel the appointment. So I booked this appointment, I grab my phone, I go to put it in my calendar, and I realize that, oh no, I have another appointment. I can't cancel. I've been waiting for this specialist forever. So I can cancel this appointment and restart my booking process if I need to. I can put in a reason for my visit, and this is going to show up as a note. So if I want to say, like I've been having this really bad toothache or something like that, I can put that in, I can save it, and it's going to populate on my appointment on this admin sign calendar. If it's my very first time coming into the clinic, I can fill out an intake form. So Jane has the ability to have intake forms that will automatically go out to your clients based on a first visit. So if you want those intake forms to populate the first time they book an appointment, they'll get prompted to fill out an intake form. You can customize the questions in that intake form as well. Any profile field information that you have in the intake field is going to automatically populate into the patient's profile, so you're never having to rekey that information in yourself. Jane will also send out appointment reminder, email or text messages, and these are included in the cost of your Jane account, so you can send out as many of them as you want. We might have an email that'll go out 2 days before the appointment, well outside of our cancellation period. So if they can't make it, they can cancel. I still have time to fill that appointment. And then you might have a text message that's going to go out 2 hours before the appointment. Now, when you set up these reminders the way that you want them to be, so I choose that text message to go out 2 hours before the appointment in my settings on the admin side of Jane, I can choose whether or not I want my patients to automatically be subscribed to this text message reminder. I can also choose whether or not I want my text message reminder to be patient selectable. So if I've chosen for it to be patient selectable here, it opens up in this area and people are able to choose whether or not they want to receive this text message reminder. You can have them so that they're not patient selectable, and then this area just isn't there, and then they're not able to choose, they'll just get them automatically. We also have a little blurb about your cancellation policy, and this is customizable to your wording and what your cancellation policy is going to be. So here I can now go into the view my account area. And this is where as your patient is going to come in and I can look at the details of my account. Now, I'm getting this welcome back, Carla Clean information right here because Jane recognizes that I am actually a staff member and she's kind of wondering, what are you doing over here? You don't need to be over here. Your clients, when they sign in, are going to see something that's a little bit more like this. So they can see a list of their upcoming appointments that they have booked. If you are allowing clients to add themselves to a wait list, they would be able to do that here. When they add themselves to a wait list, they can choose either a specific location, if you happen to be multiple location, a specific discipline, which in our case, we might just have the one discipline. We can choose the treatment that we want to be booked in for, and then we can choose the timeline in which we want to be on the wait list from. So maybe I am available until the 15th of July. I can also choose the specific times of day. Well, school's ending now, but maybe I'm a busy mom who normally is only available during school hours. So I can specify that I'm available from 9:30 in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I can also specify the specific days of the week that I am available on. And then I can populate with the reason for my visit. So maybe I've got that really bad toothache or something like that, and I can press continue. And this will automatically add me to the wait list that shows up on your schedule on the admin side. Now, if it turns out that I'm no longer available, I can come into my account area and I can remove myself from this wait list. I can also see an appointment history. So if I want to think, you know, I'm probably due for a cleaning, but I'm not quite sure when it was that I was last in. I'm pretty sure it was only 6 weeks ago. I can come in and say this and be like, oh, oops, it's been just about a year since I've been in, and I can look at that appointment history. Again, I can look at the intake forms that need to be filled out. And if I had completed the intake form, this would show as complete, and I would be able to click on to the intake form and read what it is that I wrote. We also have a document section here in Jane in the My Account area. So you as a practitioner, when you're doing charting in Jane, you can create a chart entry and fill it out with the information that you want to pass on to your patient, and then mark that chart entry as being visible to the patient. So if I want to share some information about what I'm seeing or what I want my patient to watch out for, I can have this information loaded onto here. Maybe I want to give them some flossing instructions, and maybe I want to make a toothbrush recommendation. So I can have this information loaded onto this, and then they, rather than being, you know, maybe overwhelmed with the amount of information that they got and the things that they need to do, and, you know, maybe I've gotten some paper handouts, but, you know, I put them in my purse, which in my case is a little bit of a never-ending pit, and probably will never be seen again. Or maybe I put it in my car and I go around the corner and it slides down into between that spot where you can never find things again. Instead of having those items that are missing in my life, I can now just log into the My Account area and I can see this information. So treatment plans, notes, product recommendations, anything that you want to share with your client, you can upload into their chart, make it visible to them, and then they will be able to access that information. They can update their own contact info here as well. So if they need to change their email address or phone number or address, they can do that here, and it's going to automatically populate into their patient profile. So they're not having to contact you to get their phone numbers changed or emails changed. The reminder preferences, we touched on this before. This is another spot where they can choose which reminders they want to receive. If none of your reminders are patient selectable, then this reminder preference area, it's not going to be there. Jean's going to keep your menu here nice and tidy. Clients can update their own username and passwords here. And then we have a Google, Facebook, and Twitter option. So this Google, Facebook, and Twitter option offers your clients the ability to log in using a Google, Facebook, or Twitter login. It does not allow Jane to post on their behalf to Google, Facebook, or Twitter. It simply makes it so they don't have to remember yet another username and password. This is a clinic selectable option. If you don't want them to have that option, you deselect it and this spot just isn't there. I'm getting an option to manage your staff preferences. That's only because I am a staff member. And again, Jane's wondering what I'm doing over here. So if I was to click on this, it would just take me immediately into my staff profile over on the admin side of Jane. So that's a little overview of the patient-facing side of Jane. I'm going to take you over to the admin side of Jane. So I'm going to click right here on my, what I like to call my secret portal button. It's going to take me over to the admin side of Jane. Your clients are not going to have access to this area. This is only for your admin staff. So let's look at the schedule. So here is an overview of my schedule. Looking at it from the point of view that I was a sole practitioner, I would be able to see just a straight up week's view of my schedule. I can scroll ahead and look at weeks ahead. I could go to a specific date if I wanted to and see that specific date, or I can go back to the today button and see just today. I have an option of looking at just the day or at that week view. I can hide weekends if I didn't want to see weekends and I never worked on weekends, or I can have them showing. The other thing I can do, if I've decided that maybe one day isn't quite enough for my view, but a week is a little bit overwhelming, then I can hit any number on my keyboard, 1 through 7, and Jane will show me that many days. So if I press the number 3, Jane's going to show me 3 days of my schedule. This black line right here that's on my schedule is showing me what my current time is, so I can see what patient it is that I'm working with. This blue line that's floating around with me, this is so that if I was booking another appointment over here or in another day, I can easily see what time slot I'm on. So right now I'm on the 2:45 time slot, and now I'm on the 2:30. So if I was wanting to just book an appointment, all I'd have to do is select the time slot. So I've just clicked on that and it's marking it as reserved. Now, me marking that as reserved right then and there has made that appointment not available on the online booking. I can do a patient search. I only have to actually type in a couple letters, and Jane's going to start searching first name. She'll start searching last name, email addresses, phone numbers, patient ID numbers, all things like that. So once I see the patient's name in the drop-down list, I can select the patient. I can select the treatment that they're booking in for. And then I can go ahead and book that appointment. And there we go. We've got Fred booked into our schedule. All right. This little number right here is that wait list that we did. So if I was to click on this, I can see the people on my wait list. So I can click on this appointment and I can see that Carla's availability is from 9:30 till 2. She's also available on Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays. And if I was wanting to book her in, I could just select the book button. I can select the time. And because she already chose that she wanted to be on the wait list for initial appointment, Jane's already populating with that information. So I'm getting a notice here that my appointment was booked successfully. Do I want to leave this patient on the wait list or do I want to remove them? So maybe they wanted to be left on the wait list because maybe I got them in near towards the end of their availability, and they were hoping to get in a little bit sooner. So I could leave them in on the wait list if that was the case. Or in this case, I got her in pretty quickly, so maybe we want to remove her from the wait list. And there we go. I'm just going to click on my today button so that I go to today in our schedule here. So when my patient or my client arrives for an appointment, what I would do is I would click on their appointment time slot, and that's going to bring up the appointment sidebar. I can mark them as arrived. And then what I can do is I can take payments. So when I mark them as arrived, it's going to automatically turn them green in the system. So if it did turn out that you had a receptionist or somebody that was greeting your clients for you, when they mark them as arrived, it turns them green, and you get that little visual cue that your next person is here. It also creates the invoice based on the treatment that they're booked in for. So here we can now just press our pay button. Now, my patient Amelia, she owes us a little bit of money from a June 3rd appointment. So Jane's letting me know about that there's $95 in addition to today's appointment that's outstanding on her account. Now, Jane does not want you to have an accounts receivable ever. So she's gonna, I like to say, subtly put it in your face that this patient owes money. She really doesn't want you to miss out on collecting that money, especially when the patient is standing there in front of you. So if our patient was not paying off this money today, I could deselect this. It's not going to change the invoice that is owing. It's just simply telling Jane that we're paying $0 towards this invoice, or maybe we're making a $20 payment on this invoice or something like that. I'm going to select this because our fake patients here are really terrible about paying for their fake appointments with their fake money. So we're going to have her pay off some of her debt here. What I'm going to do next is press my next button. And now it is going to automatically populate with the last method of payment that our patient used when they were in. So Amelia, the last time she came in, she paid me with her MasterCard. Most people are creatures of habit. If they pay with a MasterCard, they almost always pay with a MasterCard. If they pay with cash, they almost always pay with cash. And Jane wants to save you the step of adding the payment method whenever possible. So if my client here was paying with her MasterCard, I just press one of my pay buttons. If she's not, I'm going to X this off, and I'm going to add the payment method that she is paying with today. And now I can record this payment. I can pay and print a receipt, or I can pay and email her receipt for this. Now, the last time she came in, she asked for her receipt to be emailed, and Jane's letting me know about that because people are creatures of habit. So if we were wanting to email the receipt again, we'll just hit that button, and Jane is going to record that we've accepted that payment and email her a receipt. Now over here on my appointment, I now have a little $sign in the top corner, and that's telling me that this appointment has been paid for. This one up here, it doesn't have a $sign on it. That's telling me that the money is still outstanding for that appointment. So if I was to click on that, I'd be able to see here. So if we have multiple patients coming in at the same time, and some want to pay before their appointment, some want to pay after their appointment, we can easily see that Amelia paid before and maybe Florence was going to pay after. So we know who has to pay and who doesn't. All right. One of the other little features that I liked about Jane when I was working in clinic was the ability to enable a privacy mode. So when I come up here next to my name in the top right corner, I have this little drop down arrow, and it gives me this ability to enable privacy. So when I have my privacy mode on, all of the patient names are blurred out in my system. And that makes it so that I can have my device in my treatment area, and I don't have to worry about clients seeing confidential information that I don't want them to see. I can also toggle that privacy mode on or off by using a keyboard shortcut. Shift and the letter P for privacy will enable or disable the privacy mode. So I've got it there, back on, Shift and the letter P will take it off. So if I have that person that's, maybe hovering over my shoulder or something like that, then I can subtly put on that privacy mode just with a quick keyboard stroke. All right. It's a pretty quick overview on scheduling an appointment, taking a basic payment. The other thing that we can do is we can put notes on clients' accounts. So Florence here, I can click on her appointment and I can put a note on here. So maybe Florence is always late for her appointments. She just can't get it together. I can put on a note saying that she is always late. And I could put that in maybe she was just going to be 5 minutes late today, so I put a note on saying, you know, she called, she's going to be 5 minutes late, but really, she's always late. So I'm going to put a note saying she's always late. And then what I can do is I can star this note, so it's going to display on all of her patient appointments. So when I do that and press add, what's going to happen is I'm going to get this little message bubble right here on my appointment, and then I can hover over and I can see that she's always late. And then I've got that little heads up that, right, Florence. Now, if I go into her appointment and I'm making the appointment booking, I'm going to see that little notice that she's always late there. Amelia, on the other hand, Amelia's had a rough go. Maybe she cracked a tooth or something, I'm not sure, but she's a little bit of a mess and I want to follow up with her. I need to just check in and make sure everything went well with her appointment today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Amelia's appointment. I'm going to create in the notes section again, but I'm going to create a task. So I'm going to tell Amelia that I want to follow up with, well, I'm not going to tell Amelia, I'm going to tell Jane that I'm going to follow up with Amelia. So I'm going to put this in as a follow-up. And then what I can do is I can change this note to a task, which allows me to put on a due date. So maybe I want to follow up with her tomorrow, and I can assign it to a specific staff member. So I could, if I had a front desk staff, I could assign it to them, or I can assign it to myself or another practitioner. So here, I'll assign it to myself, and I'm actually going to change the date to be due today so that we can see what this looks like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that. I can close off this appointment here. And when we have a task due, it gives us this little number up beside our name that lets us know that we have 1 task due or 10 tasks due or whatever it is that we have. So here, I'm going to click on this and I can look at my tasks. So my tasks right here, I've got this little notice to follow up and it's due today. Now, it's not giving me the patient name. It just says follow up, but it does tell me that it's for the appointment on June 28th at 5:45 p.m. Anything that's blue in Jane is a clickable link. So I can click on this and it's going to open up the appointment information. I've got Amelia's phone number and contact information here so I can contact her, find out how she's doing, and then once I've actually completed that task, I can check it off as being completed. So there we go. We have Carla's appointment followed up and completed there. Now, the other place that I can look at these tasks is from my staff profile. So if I click on staff here, I have a tasks option. So I can click on that and I can see tasks that were assigned to me, tasks that were created by me, and tasks that have been completed. So I can follow up on those. Now, tasks don't have to be attached to appointments or specific clients. They can be tasks for things that we need to do. Maybe I need to order some more supplies, but the supplies that I'm wanting to order go on sale on July 5th. So I don't really want to order them today. I want to order them when they go on sale. So I might create a task to order those supplies and make it due July 5th so that I get that little heads up that I need to get that done. So it can be a nice little reminder system for yourself. All right, I'm going to pop back over into the schedule today. So Michael here, he didn't show up for his appointment. Good thing it was the last appointment of the day because I'm feeling a little tired anyway. So I'm going to click on his appointment and I'm going to mark him as a no-show. Now, when I mark him as a no-show, I get this list of options. I can choose to mark him as a no-show and charge him full price. I could no-show and charge him 50%, maybe a nominal fee, or maybe he had a really good excuse and I'm not going to charge him anything. This list of no-show fees right here is completely customizable. So if you have a set fee that you charge, end of story, you can have that in there. So we're going to charge Michael maybe 50% of his appointment. We're going to mark him as no-show, and that's going to turn him red in the system. And it's actually going to mark down on his profile that he has been missed an appointment. But the other thing that it's going to do here is it's going to give me a little prompt This appointment has been marked as a no-show. Would you like to send or schedule a return visit reminder? So I can add a return visit reminder to his appointment here. It's going to bring me down here. And when I do this, I can choose when I want him to come back. Often these people who no-show or late cancel appointments, they are the ones that will drop off of our memory lists of who we need to follow up with because they were booked in and then they didn't end up coming. So let's say we want him to come back in a week. So I can say that I want him to come back in a week. It gives me a suggested appointment date of July 5th. If that works, great. If it doesn't, I can change that date. Then what I can do is choose the reminder date. So when do I want Jane to send out this reminder for me? So Jane's saying, tomorrow's a good day to do that. Let's do that. It's going to be booked in for the same staff member, same appointment type, and then I can choose if I want it to be reminded automatically, an email automatically sent out, or if I actually want to manually do that myself. We're going to send it out automatically because why wouldn't I want Jane to do the work for me? And then I can customize a message to the patient if I wanted to. So it's pre-populating with this is a reminder to rebook your missed visit. But maybe I had a little conversation with Michael and he ended up with the flu or something and I just want to say, you know, hope you're feeling better. Would love to see you again in a week when you're feeling much, much better. And then I'm going to say done. And now what's going to happen is Jane will automatically send out a reminder to him to rebook that appointment for our missed appointment. Now, if I had set it up so that the return visit reminder was going to be maybe in 6 months. So I can set up a return visit reminder, maybe not for a missed appointment. Maybe I want to do it for a continuing care with somebody. So Amelia, I want to set up a return visit reminder. I can set it up and have it send out to go out in 6 months from now. And then what I can do is same thing, have that automatically go out. It's going to give me the reminder date, the suggested date. Actually, maybe, you know, December 27th doesn't really work for me. Let's do the second week of January when I'm going to be reopened. And then I can have this sent out here. So what will happen is if my patient books in an appointment before this reminder date populates, Jane's going to recognize that they don't actually need a reminder for that appointment. As long as they booked in with the same practitioner and the same treatment type, Jane will realize that they're all good to go and she's not going to send them out a reminder. All right. So there's a little bit on return visit reminders and no-shows. Okay. So I'm just going to pop on over to our staff tab and talk a little bit about charting. So in our staff tab, we can set up chart templates that specifically match the treatments that we offer. Now we can set up new chart templates. We can create those from scratch. We give you things like checkbox options and note fields and drop-down fields. We have chief complaint fields, range scales, vitals, a whole bunch of tools that you can use to create the chart template to match your needs and your style. If you like using checkboxes, we have that option. You can put in a checkbox, you can label however you want to label it, and give a list of options that you can check off. Now, I've gone ahead and created a little chart template. So we have a body chart. And what I did was I created the body chart, but instead of having our pre-standard body chart image, I put in an image of a head and neck. So if I wanted to do a head and neck exam, I can do that. Maybe we have a note field. I've got a file upload here. Again, I've put in another body chart option here where I've uploaded some images of teeth. And then again, we can go into those checkboxes and whatnot. So we give you lots of tools that you can use to create the chart template to match your individual needs. So let's kind of see what some of these look like in use. So I'm going to go to my day view. My day view is slightly different than my schedule view in that when I'm in my schedule view and I click on an appointment, it's going to bring up the appointment information. But when I'm in the day view and I click on an appointment, it's going to bring up chart entries. So I can have a quick look at the various chartings that I've done. So if I'm wanting to create a new chart entry for my patient, I can click on the new chart entry and I can choose the chart template from the list of chart templates that I have. So if I have one that's going to be specific for my initial appointments, I can do that. If I have one that's going to be specific for a subsequent cleaning, I can do that. Or a quick checkup, I can have various chart templates for all my different types of charting needs. So here we've got our head and neck exam one. So using this pencil and the different font sizes and the different colors, I can come in here and I can actually draw directly on this image. I can use different colors if I wanted to, and I can have my charting exactly how I want it to be looking, drawing on this. We also have the little pointy finger here that I can actually drop in and make notes on an area. So when I drop this little number 1 there, it opens up a note field down here where I can actually go ahead and type in notes about that specific area that I have. So we can have those in there. You can use any image at all that you want for these body chart areas that I've uploaded this head and neck image to, but I could actually change this image to any image I wanted. So if I wanted to actually take a picture of my patient, I could take a picture of my patient, have that loaded into this area, and do my charting directly over that image. A note field, I can just simply type that in, or maybe it's not relevant for this appointment, and I don't really want it to look like I should have typed something in there and I didn't type something in there. So when I highlight this area with my mouse and I'm in here, I can hit a delete button and I can delete this section out of my chart entry. We have an add image file. So I understand that you do a lot of paper charting, and maybe you want to do your paper charting and then take a picture of that paper charting and then add that image into your electronic charting here. So if I was to use something like this and I could upload it, so I can do my charting as I normally would, have that image uploaded here. I can put a little description on it, and then my item will be saved into the patient chart. So if I'm doing my charting and maybe I don't want to use so much as a paper chart like this, I can actually create something like this, have it laminated, do my writing directly on this, with maybe a dry erase pen or something like that, take a picture of it, load it into my chart, and then I would be able to erase it and use it for the next patient. So I'm not having to store those paper charts anymore. We'll have that electronic version of it, but we will be able to not have to store our charts for, what is it, potentially 30 years, depending on what the situation is. So when you load those in, you can actually have them pop up nice and big for you there. So it's easy as if you're using something like a tablet or a smartphone or something like that, when you click on these change image options, Jane's going to ask you if you want to take a picture. So you would be able to actually just take a picture right there, and it's going to load directly into this chart entry. So again, this is just our body chart that I've uploaded this tooth chart as another option. If you're wanting to just draw directly on, you could do something like that as well. If you're using something like a tablet that has a stylus, then it's going to be a little bit smoother than what I just did with my laptop and mouse. Having a tablet with a touchscreen you can draw on. However, I do think with the tiny little bits of what your charting looks like, it might be easier to use a pen and paper and then just scan in or take a picture of the items there. If I have these items here, I can always check off. I can use drop-down menus. If I like drop-down menus, I can select home care information. So when I close a chart, Jane is going to keep it in draft mode. Now, I didn't have to save that chart. Jane was saving it for me automatically as I went. So I was going through there. Every time I made something, Jane was saving it for me. And now she's got it in a draft mode for me. Over here on my schedule, I have this unlocked padlock that's telling me that this chart entry is still in a draft mode. Whereas this one's got a locked padlock, which is telling me that I'm done with that chart. I've signed off on it. I don't have to worry about it anymore. When my charts are in draft mode, I can come in here and I can write more things on it. I can change things. I can edit the information that I put in here. I can do whatever it is that I want with this chart as long as it's in draft mode. Once I'm done and I sign off on my chart, Jane's going to double check with me that I really do want to sign off on this chart. At that point, it's going to become a locked signed chart entry. And when I go into this chart entry, it is now a locked signed chart entry. I cannot make any changes. I can't edit things. I can't click new things. It is a locked signed chart entry. If I remembered that I should have added something that they told me, I can amend the chart, and then my signed off time will be date stamped as of when I amended that chart. All right. We can pin items from our charts. So if I wanted to pin something up here, I wanted to keep track of it for the next time they come in, I can pin that item and Jane will hold a copy of it outside of the chart entry for me. So I'd be able to click on that and have a quick look. If I wanted to compare things over a course of time, maybe I've got some lesions or something like that I want to take pictures of and have those actual pictures loaded into my chart entry, I can have those loaded and then I can pin them all there so that I can look at them and compare them side by side. Once I'm done with these, I can unpin the item and then Jane will drop it back down into chronological order for me. I also have the ability to star a chart. So if I'm having to refer back to a specific chart entry, maybe my patient had a surgery that I'm having to, refer back to, and I've got chart notes on that. I can star a chart entry, and Jane will hold a copy of that chart entry up at the top for me so that I can easily access it, and I don't have to remember what date it was that I did that charting. Once I'm done with this, I can deselect the star and Jane will drop that chart entry back down into chronological order. I can add medical alerts to my client's chart. So this can be a list of medications, or maybe it's going to be a pregnancy due date. Something like that. I can layer these on. So as I put them in, if I need to, I can layer them in. Maybe Amelia doesn't like to be called Amelia. She actually goes by Leah, and I want to make a note of that. Or maybe she's very sensitive on her right side, and I need to make a note of that. I can put all these things in the medical alert area and have them listed down there. I also have the ability to search chart entries. So anything that I've typed into a chart entry, I can search a word or a phrase. So if my patient comes in and says, my jaw's been really, really bothering me, and I want to see if we've charted anything about that before, I can type in the word jaw, and Jane will only populate with the chart entries that have that word in them. Once I delete out this word out of my search field or phrase, then I can repopulate with all of my chart entries again. So if I want to see if I've done a specific recommendation or if I've looked at something before, if I charted about something before, I can use that chart search. All right. I had mentioned before when we were over on the patient-facing side of Jane that we could create a new chart entry. Maybe I want to take a picture of my patient, add that picture in. Maybe if they've got some lesions or something like that that I want to track, I can add that image in, and I'm able to make this chart entry visible to the patient right here. So by default, all of our chart entries are marked as not visible to the patient. But if I want it to be visible to the patient, I can toggle that on. Jane's going to double check with me that I really do want to make this chart entry visible to the patient. I can say okay. And then when I close or sign off on it, it's going to be clearly marked as being visible to the patient right there. So if I have that list of recommendations or tips, those flossing tips or whatever it is that I want to share with my patient, I have that in there. Maybe down the road, the next time they're in, I no longer want them to use this item, or I've got another recommendation. I can always come back into this chart entry and deselect the ability for it to be visible to the patient, and then it would no longer show in that document section. There we go. And that's true even if I sign off on that chart. If I sign off on that chart as being visible to the patient, I can still make that change to toggle the visible to the patient on or off. All right, a little charting overview. Jane does also have a list of reports that she will pull for you. So patient lists, top patients, appointments, patient retention, those return visit reminders, or if we wanted to pull up an unscheduled patient list, we can do that based on a last visit. We can also say that we want to look at them only if the last visit was a cancellation or a no-show, and Jane will pull the list of people who have not booked in. We have billing summary reports, so you can get an overview of what's going on and where your sales breakdowns are going to be. These are all customizable income categories, so they can be whatever you want. You can look at sales, accounts receivable. Unfortunately, our demo clinic has a large accounts receivable. Hopefully you don't have any. But you can have a look at those as well. Some of our reports are exportable. So if you use a bookkeeping program such as QuickBooks, you can export the accounts receivable list to Excel, which then can be imported to QuickBooks. We have product performance reports and inventory. So if you do have some inventory that you want to be selling, you can have that populate in here, and Jane will keep track of inventory needs for you. Product performance, if you want to see over a specific time what your most popular items are, you can have that. So, I want to see for the month of, August, once I've got some historical data in my Jane Clinic, I can look back and see, when was it that my initial patients are coming in the most or something like that. I can see those types of things. All right. Lots and lots of settings that are customizable in Jane. So you can create your treatments, you can create the names, you can create, select the time, length of time that you want your treatments to last. All of these things are going to be completely customizable in Jane. If you want your appointments to show as being 60 minutes length of time with your client or with your patient, but actually in your schedule you want 75 minutes, so you have that 15-minute buffer period before your next client comes in, Jane can take care of that for you.
Hi, Megan. It's Wendy. I was just wondering, it just occurred to me while I have a question, if you don't mind. Are
I
we
love questions.
able to customize the next continuing care appointment for a particular patient. So let's say I need 60 minutes with Amelia, but I need an hour and a half with Michael. Can I say at the next continuing care, I want 60 versus 75 minutes with a particular patient?
So most likely what I would do in that case is I would put a note on their account
Okay.
saying I need some extra time in here. And then I would star that note. So the next time I booked her in, I would see that. Now, any appointment you can book, they're going to be set as those times that you set up. However, we can always lengthen appointments. So if I have Logan here and I know I need a little bit of extra time with him, I can click on here and I can actually drag the appointment
Gotcha. Okay.
a little bit longer. And
Oh,
Jane's going to double check with you.
confirm and then notify who is that? Notify the patient?
That would be notifying the patient.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So if I want to notify the patient that I have changed the length of his appointment or even the start time, I can do that.
Great, great. So do you mind, we're getting close to 7. I was wondering, do you mind if I unmute everybody and they can ask questions?
Would love questions.
Perfect. Is there anything else? I don't want to cut you short. Is there
Nope,
something
I
else?
was just about to say I was done.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to mute everybody. So everybody that has a microphone should light up. I see that some don't, but that's okay. Like Andrea has one, so she could certainly ask a question. If you don't have a microphone, if you're not listening with a mic on your computer, of course, then we won't be able to hear you. You'll be able to just send me a question in the chat function. I have another question. Where are you located, and are you a Canadian company? And what about security and patient storage and all that type of good stuff that we have to be worried about as business owners?
Yeah, great question. So we are a Canadian company. We're based out of North Vancouver, British Columbia. We started up here and we plan on staying right here, nice and local. So server information, for keeping our information safe and secure, is such an important thing. So up here on our top blue bar, every Jane clinic has a little need help option. So if we click on the need help option, we can either search the guide. If I end up with maybe 2 patients of the same name or something like that, I can search the guide on how to merge patients together. In this case, we're going to browse the guide right here. In our Jane app website, we have our guide documents, and one of them we have is on privacy and security. So if we go into the privacy and security frequently asked questions, Jane's data is stored in secured servers in Eastern Canada. We have backup servers in Canada as well. So all of our servers are in Canada, which is really important because Canadian laws towards privacy are among the best. That's what we want, is our information to be stored here in Canada. Jane's data is secured with 256-bit encryption, which, if you're anything like me, really meant nothing, other than the fact that it is the same amount of security as what your banks use to keep your information safe. Jane's data is accessed via usernames and passwords. So every user on your Jane account, whether they be a receptionist or another practitioner that you might have working with you, are each going to have their own usernames and passwords to access the Jane clinic. All right.
Great. Thanks for that, Megan. Well, that's very comforting to know, because I know some of the issues we face are when you're dealing with an American company about storage of information in the United States versus Canada, and their laws are different than ours, and yada yada.
Yes, exactly. And that's why it's so important that whatever software you use, you make sure that the servers are located in Canada.
Right.
For our best security needs.
Right. So what if Jane goes down, or something happens to the website, or I don't know, internet interference, or I don't know, there's a solar flare, I don't know, all the things that can go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many things that can go wrong in that world of technology. So Jane is a web-based server, or web-based software, which means that you do need to have an internet connection in order to run your Jane account. Now, I was working in clinic one day. We had a really busy day. I had every single practitioner that worked in our clinic working that day, and our internet of our town went down completely, all over the place. And I panicked a little bit because I lost my system. But what I ended up doing in this case, because it was an internet issue, is I pulled up my Jane Clinic on my smartphone and I ran my entire day off of my phone with no problems at all. It was exactly the same as if I was using a computer, except it was a smaller screen. As far as what if Jane goes down, so over here up in the top corner, we do have a Jane system status here. So we're very transparent about Jane's operations. This is something that is actually monitored by a third-party company, so it's not us that brings up the system metrics. So here you can see what our metrics are like. So for today, we've got 100% uptime. If we look at a month's view, we get 99.993, so it's pretty good. You can scroll down and you can look at a list of our past incidences. So on June 20th, there was an incident. Marketing guide and accounts were temporarily unavailable. So the marketing, the guides, that was that guide document that I was just showing you, that was down. Jane was still good, but our marketing website, the jane.app with the guide documents, was down for just a few minutes there. You can scroll down, you can look at our incident history. Honestly, if our system was down, we wouldn't be operational. We would nobody would want Jane if we had a lot of downtime. So we're pretty happy with the amount, and we're very, very transparent in what our incidences are.
Well, thanks, Megan. That's very helps with the feeling of security that your system will be there and working for you when you need it. We are. I don't see any more. Oh, hang on.
Oh, I did have a question. So I am totally up and running with the Jane app. I've been doing it for now, I don't know, 2 weeks, and I love it. So it is absolutely as easy as you said. But I had a quick question. Instead of it being separately linked to my website, I want it like into my website. Is it something that I can have my data, my web guide put into my actual website so that people aren't having to go to a separate link to book online? Or will it always come up as a separate?
It is always going to be a separate online booking site. So your online booking site is actually going to be yourclinicname.janeapp.com. And then what we do, as I'm sure you've already realized and noticed, is we offer you those book an appointment buttons to link into your website. So yeah, it is always going to be a separate little spot.
And I just had another question.
Yep. It's all right.
I'm using the claim form, but I don't take assignment, and I like that. But they have this really good function where you can use the billing codes to put in, and it comes up and it generates a really awesome invoice. But I don't want it to show up as insurance, and it doesn't. Is it okay for me to still use that billing code and it come up in the invoice and it not be any problems with insurance?
Yeah, that should be totally fine. So we use the word insurance in ours. So I'm just going to go in here and show, because I didn't touch on that. So when you click on your appointment, we have an insurance info area. Now, there's a couple different pieces to the insurance info area. We can add a claim or policy if we were actually billing a third-party agency. We use the word insurance, but it can be any third-party agency that you're billing outside of the client, and you can add a claim or policy to them. But the other thing that you can do is add private billing codes. So when you add a private billing code, you can have those set up customized to what you want your billing codes to be, and then you can create that beautiful invoice that has the breakdown of all the different pieces and all the different charges that you want it to be. So those billing codes can be all created. Yeah.
That's why I love it. It looks really good when it gets sent out to the patients. But I also, because I have patients that do have insurance claims, I was wondering, how can I link to the CDHA claims right from Jane without having to go to a separate screen?
It would be a matter of having to go to a separate screen.
Okay.
So yeah, it's something that, because we are kind of new to your guys' field, we're still exploring things. But even with like our massage therapists and our physiotherapists that we've been doing all these claims and whatnot for, they still link into a separate place as well.
Yeah, dental, we're a bit an anomaly, I think, in the insurance world, that's for sure. We encounter more issues with insurance compared to physio and massage, that's for sure. And that's a whole other one.
I never take
Yeah.
assignment.
Was there someone else that had a question? Did you have another one, Andrea? Did you have another question?
No, I think she answered everything, because I had a question about the periodontal charting, so I will start laminating sheets. The claim forms, everything I was having questions about were answered, and I love.
Well, I have to say, from a patient perspective, I really find it very easy from a patient perspective to do the online booking. And in fact, I don't even stand at the counter anymore. I just tell the receptionist, don't worry, I'll book when I get home. And the other thing I'd wanted to share is, I can't remember if I did this when I was introducing Jane, talking about my kind of journey with it. I touched base with that hygienist, and she said she's booking 5 to 10 patients now per week because of the online booking, which is completely like astounding me. So I think that's miraculous results. So thank you, Megan.
Excuse me, Wendy.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
I just wanted to know, I'm not sure if I missed this. What was the cost?
Good question. I didn't cover that. That was naughty of me. So I'm just going to pop into this need help area and go back to my browse the guide, just because we have a pricing calculator here. So booking, charting, and billing, which is our most commonly used item right here, gives you full access to everything that Jane has. So keeping track of payments and doing all your booking, your charting online, everything is going to start out at $74 per month. Now, there is going to be some tax on that, because, you know, it's Canada and we have to have a little bit of tax. But outside of that, there is going to be no other charges. So $74 is going to include your clinic and you as a full-time practitioner. Now, if you did have additional practitioners that were working with your clinic, it would be an additional $25 per additional full-time practitioner. Now, we consider a full-time practitioner to be somebody who works 24 or more hours per week. And what we'll do is we'll combine part-time practitioners together to equal a full-time practitioner. So if you have somebody that's working 6 hours a week and somebody is working 8 hours a week and somebody is working 10 hours a week, all together, we're going to equal that out to one full-time practitioner. So if you go into our pricing page here on our janeapp.com website, you can scroll down and we do have a calculate your monthly rate. So if there is more than just you as a practitioner that's working, you can put that in. Now, again, on top of that, if you have admin staff, those are included in the cost of your Jane account. So they're not additional costs at all to you. Your $74 per month is going to include all of the email and phone support that you need, any training, data import if you had a patient list that you wanted to bring over, storage, text messages, email reminders, all of that stuff is all included in the cost of your Jane account. There is no onboarding fees. In fact, I would offer you guys, if you did decide that you wanted to.
Oh, we lost you again, Megan. Are you there, Megan? I'm not sure if everybody else can hear Megan or not.
No, I lost her too.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure what's happening here. Well, I'm glad it happened at the end, that's for sure. Hang on a sec here, guys. I'm going to call her.
Oh, did I get lost?
Oh, there you are. Sorry, I was just going to call you. Yeah, we lost you. We lost you right at the point where you said, and as a matter of fact, if you wanted to book or sign up and then we lost you.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So if you wanted to sign up for the Jane software, what I would do is offer you guys 2 weeks complimentary for setup time. So you're not having to pay for your software while you're just getting your software set up and not seeing patients. So to sign up, you would just have to go to the Jane app website. You can click on the sign up button. What happens is Jane will send you out an email that will welcome you to Jane. She basically says your account is now ready, and then she'll walk you through a wizard of setting up your Jane account where you can actually customize everything. So when you are signing up, there is an additional info area that you can actually put in that Megan offered you 2 weeks complimentary for setup.
Well, thanks, Megan. And we're 10 minutes after, and I know we all love this kind of information because we're all excited about how we can make our practices that much better and more efficient. But I really have to thank you, Megan. And we're going to sign off and let everybody go do all the things that they need to be doing tonight. So thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to take back the screen here for just a second, and I'm going to give everybody, sorry, I just got to find myself here, and I'm going to go.
I'm just going to just pop in just for 2 seconds here and just say that if you guys do want to shoot us an email, you can reach us at support@janeapp.com.
Yeah, it's up on your screen now. Everybody should be able to see it. There's Megan's. Oh, no, you can't. Why can't you? Okay, hang on. Techno difficulties. Everybody has my email. I will send it to you if you need it. If you can't get a hold of them,
right.
You get a hold of Megan. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate it, and good night.
Good night.
Thank
you so much.
It's great.